Hello everyone, this is Alice from CICA, the Crane Industry Council of Australia. I hope you stay safe and healthy during this challenging time. As the national peak body for the crane industry, CICA are always looking at using creative ways to provide services to our members. We develop these presentations and workshops to walk you through the technical documents CICA has been working on over the past 5 or 6 years. With work activities slowed down under the current government's restrictions, we think maybe it's a good time for you to sit down and have a good look at your business operations, your lifting operations, and your safety measures. And that's when our presentations can help. Today, we're going to show you a useful tool developed by CICA a few years ago. It's an operational cost calculation sheet. It aims at helping crane owners understand the cost of their business. I hope after walking through these worksheets with us, you can go back and check your own business and figure out whether the high rate you charge for your crane is suitable for your business or not. As you can see here, this tool was developed using Excel sheets. Excel are really powerful at dealing with data and calculations, and that's why we want to use this as a calculation tool for you. I'll first explain how to use this sheet. This sheet has 2 data input worksheets. One is for your crane crew, one is for your crane. These 2 are where you put your figures in for the calculation. All the yellow highlighted areas need you to put a number in there. You can choose to put your own number in there, or you can choose to use the default number that comes with the Excel sheet. Please just bear in mind that this sheet was developed about 5 years ago, and at that time we were using a EVA a few years old too. So all the values we have here for the default values are probably a bit low compared with the current market values. But don't worry about that. We have an option for you to put your own figures in. I will use an example to walk through these Excel sheets with you. Say you have an employee named Alice, that's me, and then I have a C2 license. I'm a full-time employee. My hourly rate, if you use default, that's $20.81 per hour. If you think that's a bit low, you can put your own number in there, say $35 per hour. And then the next item is clothing and PPE you provide for this employee every year. And I put some notes here saying that includes work boots, shirts, cleaning cost, etc. This is just an estimate number we put in. If you think it's more or less than what you have, you can change the value by put something here yourself. Or if you're happy with what they have there, or if you're not sure what your cost is on this, just use the default value. The next one is the company overhead. We have the default at 15%. You can change this. If you're a small company, you only have 1 people doing everything, then you have a lower overhead. It's a big company, there's lots of people managing things, you may have a higher overhead. So you choose your own value, or you choose to use the default value. Next item is the profit expectation. We set 10% as the default here. You can change that more or less as you like. And the next one is daily travel allowance. This is what you pay to your operator or your riggers for them to travel daily. And the number of days travel per year. These are all an estimate of what your crane crew's working schedule looks like, or based on your past experience. And then we'll calculate total travel allowance per year for you. Just remember all these yellow areas, these yellow things, places need input. If it's not yellow, see something like this, it's a calculation result for you, so don't touch this. Oh, I forgot to mention, usually these Excel sheets are locked because there are formulas behind these calculations. For example, this one, we don't want to change it or accidentally delete it. That changed the value for the whole sheet. If you stop the sheet and find out you can't change any numbers there and you want to change numbers, the password for all worksheets is CICA, all capital, CICA. So if you put that in, then you can unlock the worksheet from here. So if you lock it, it'll say protect the worksheet. If you put the password in, then it'll be unlocked. Okay. Yeah, sorry. Come back to the data input side. You can put in EFT allowance, first aid allowance, productivity allowance, income protection, public liability, and your payroll tax. These are numbers based on your EVA or based on your actual operation. And then if you can't get values or you don't know the values for these, just use the default values. These are the same number of shop stewards, days spent on union meetings, hourly reached, total number of employees. These are all depend your own company operation. Then hours lost per week. This, yes, I have a note here saying this is for the unplanned hours lost. So some unforeseeable situations you come across that you can't have the employee work for you. So this is sort of a compensation for your unplanned disruptions. Then there are some other allowance that you provide for your employee, for example, mobile phone charge, redundancy charge, or redundancy, what do you call it, allowance, superannuation, long service leave, workers' compensation. If they work overtimes, if they don't work overtimes, just put 0 here. If they do work overtime, say you need them to work on the weekends or work over hours, put this in there and select your overtime type or shift work hours. So we have some other lots of operating situations here for you to put in the extra amount of money in there if your staffs are working overtime. Then days per year, weeks, RTO, annual leave. These are all standard. If you pick a state, can tell you what's the public holidays per year, which is pre-calculated for you. RTO, that's the default number. It was based on 1 day per every 2 weeks. And then this miscellaneous or something you can put in as an unplanned hour too, probably the same as the one before, but this just gives you more opportunity to adjust your worksheet or adjust your work hours. I have some explanation here. You don't need to follow this. You could just put one big number at it, number 4. So you can do it per week or per hour or per year. So whichever one is easier for you to estimate, then you do that. Number of hours per day, number of working days, number of working hours. These are all pretty standard numbers here. So after you put all this in, you go to cost crane crew. That shows you what's the raw cost for this crew member. Remember, for Alice, who has a C2 license working full-time. You see hourly rate for Alice is only $35. But after you add up all these costs together, which you may have these or you may not have it, whichever way, you still add up a lot of other costs other than the hourly rate you pay for your crew. And that ends up this person, the raw cost of this person is $88.12 per hour. So if you are getting Alice to drive your crane and work on your crane, the charge out rate for Alice is not just the $35 charge out hourly rate. She's actually costing you $88 per hour. And if you want to make some money from Alice's work, that's $112 per hour. That's for you to pay for all the extra cost. Sorry, not all the extra cost. That's pay for all this extra cost here, plus your 10% profit. And at the bottom are some overtime. If she's working overtime, what's the overtime hourly rate that you have to add on to the raw cost or the profit cost to have Alice working on site? After we're looking at the crew members, now we look at your cranes. Say you have a crane, cost you $500,000, and you borrowed $400,000 to buy the crane. Your payoff period is 5 years, and your financial rate is 7%. Just remember, all these highlighted cells in yellow can be changed, can be manually input. You can change that to maybe you buy a more expensive crane or a cheaper crane. You can change the number here. Payoff period, you can change that. Financial rate, change that according to your contract. Residual value, yeah, change that to your own operating situation. And then the Excel sheet will calculate monetary residual value at the end of a loan period, annual repayment on loans. And for your crane, you also pay design registration fees per year. You may pay that, you may not pay for that. Special purpose vehicle registration per year. This one depends on how many axles your crane has. There are some preloaded values in here, as you can see. If it's less axles, is cheaper. If it's got more axles or it's a really big crane, more expensive. If you're not happy with these values here, I know there are some changes coming with registrations. So if you have other values in here, put other and put your extra amount of money here. Say, I don't know, $1,000. Then we'll use $1,000 as your special purpose registration fee here. Otherwise, use the default value here. And then vehicle registration fee per year depends on which state are you in. Might be different. Oh, actually all the same here, but each state is different with the registration fee. And then you put your CTP insurance in. Yeah, I'll just say $1,000 a year. Maintenance cost default is only $100. That sounds a bit low, but because we don't have data available on this area, that's why we put a really low number here. We hope this will remind you to put your own maintenance cost there. So $1,000. Same for insurance. For the tires you pay, rigging gear, how much you pay for rigging gear, how much you pay for fuel per hour cost. So these are all default values. As I said before, it's a bit low because we want to remind you to put your own values in here. And also, how much do you pay for the crane safe and inspection, roadworthiness inspection, all the inspections, damage and repair. Miscellaneous means any other cost that's not captured in the sections above. And then your utilization of the crane, are you using it full time? Are you using it 60%, default is 60% of the time, and you said, oh no, my crane is being used more than say 70%. So that would change. Number of weeks per year, that's the same. Number of hours per week, that depends on how many hours your crane operator or your company is working. Then crane working hours per year will be calculated based on the number you put in. After you put all these in, we'll calculate the cost for your crane. So the raw cost to hire your crane out is $51. And if you want to make some money from your crane, then $70.80. So if we put the two costs together, if you want to rent this crane out with the operator, your raw cost is $88 plus $51, which is about $140. And then if you want to make some money from it, charge it out with $112 and $70, so about $190. If you are not charging if your hire rate is lower than your raw cost, that means even though the crane is working full time, it's not making money for you. Maybe it's time for you to look at your cost, your operational cost, and then adjust your hire out rate. As I said before, these numbers are just rough numbers. What's important from this tool is this list of things here that you can look at to put your cost in. Have you considered your clothes and PPE cost? Have you considered the travel allowance? Have you considered the payroll tax on this? Have you considered hours lost per year from this employee? So as I said before, it's not just the $35 hourly rate you pay for your crane operator. He or she is actually costing more, way more than that when you send them out on job sites. So, and also the same for your cranes. It's not just how much you spend on the purchase price, how much you spend on the loan, how much you pay for this, you calculate that. No, you have other costs associated with too, for your insurance, for your tires, for your inspections, for your maintenance. Have you considered all of these costs in your operational cost or in your charge out rate? If you haven't considered all these, it's possible that your crane is out there working but not making any money. Yeah. Because the cost can be a lot higher than you think. The cost can be a lot higher than just looking at part of your operational cost, not all of your operational cost. As I said, this tool was developed a few years ago, and the numbers here are not really up to date. And if you out there, our members, you want to help us with improving the accuracy of this sheet, can you please send us your EBA? Well, we don't really want to know the details of EBA other than the numbers you use here. We can use those numbers to adjust the default values here, so when other members use it, they can have a better reference. This Excel calculation sheet will be available on the CICA portal once that's been launched. But at the same time, if you have any questions, just email me. That's our website staff contact page. I'm here, Alice Edwards. Just email me. I can send you a copy of these for you to play around with how you calculate your cost for your operation. Yes, so these are the other CICA staffs here. If you have any questions, feel free to contact any of us. I just remind you, this calculation tool is available to CICA members only. And if you are a CICA member, email me, I'll send you a copy. If you're not a CICA member but interested in becoming a CICA member, please contact Heidi. Here's her contact details here. We have a lot more technical resources other than these, and a lot more technical presentations coming up. So stay tuned. Next time I will talk about lift fan. And I hope to see you next time. Bye.